Hi everyone, this is my second video in the page of transformational coaching. This is your coach and mentor Feroz. I came across a very important idea and it struck me, and I had this impulsive kind of urge to share this information with you because I think it is the most important information that you will come across in this corona epidemic. A great claim to make, of course, one not made out of ignorance, I hope. So let's share what I think. You certainly had a lot of busy lives, and you were too busy, too confused, stressed, and you had to run all the time and work all the time and study and be indulged in whatever is going on in your life, and therefore you did not have a lot of time to yourself. The positive thing about this epidemic, if we could say that, is that you might be locked down in your house, and some of you are working from home, of course, so still busy. Some of you have children, but you still might have a bit of time to yourself. And I have a strategy of how to utilize that free time that you are spending at your home and make the best out of it. Make the exact perfect use of that time that you have. And so what should you do with that time? I think the first thing to do is to think about how you can make your life better, how to live the most ideal life that you can possibly live. How would you do that if you think about it? Just be more introspective and reflect your life. When the things go back to normal, will you still be doing the things that you were doing before the epidemic hit us? And you could think of new ideas of how to reprogram your mind in order to restructure your life and make it better. And you always have these goals and dreams of the luxurious life, to have lots of money and lots of luxury, have more fulfillment and happiness and satisfaction from your life in general, but your relationships and your academic life and your professional life. And you can change that, I think, if you think in a constructive way, not think about thoughts. As Alan Watts put it, a person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thoughts. And so don't think about thoughts, because one thought will lead you to another, and then another, and you will be drowned in this plethora of thoughts that go nowhere, but are very gravitating as you indulge in them. So the first thing to do I would suggest that you get yourself a diary and a pen. You buy them at the shop, but not just go and buy anything that you come across. Make an effort, make a strong effort to find the best diary that you can find, preferably a pocket-sized one. Also make the best effort to buy the most appropriate pen that you can buy, expensive if you could, given your current financial situation. You buy these two things and you write on the first page, who am I? It's a very worthy question to ask oneself, who am I? And now I don't mean who am I in the existential or philosophical sense. That could become thinking about thoughts, and that's not what we do. So who am I? Ask yourself that question in terms of, what are my values? What do I really want from myself, and how can I use my strengths or my weaknesses in a way that could be useful to creating a better life? And so you answer the question of who am I by figuring out what your values are and what your strengths are. In order to do that, you go to Google, and there's a test called VIA. Type VIA strength test, and you answer a few questions, quite short and brief one. It's just in objective type questionnaire. You fill that, and it gives you 21 of your strengths in order from your top strength to your second top, your third best strength that you have. In that sequence, it gives you 21 of your strengths. And then it is quite accurate. It gives you an idea of what your top strengths are and how you can use these strengths. It also gives you an idea of what you value most in life. What exactly is it that you want, which is the second question I want you to write in that diary after you have written and answered the question, who am I? And then you ask yourself, what do I really want from life? What is it that I actually desire, that I prioritize over all other goals and all other desires? What are the top 5? Let's make it top 5. What is the top 5 things that I want out of my life? You might say peace or spirituality or happiness. Some might say fulfillment. Others might say positive emotions or pleasure. That might be sexual pleasure or pleasure from company of the great people or reading stuff. You might have a different idea of what are the top 5 things that you desire from your life. Now, don't be realistic, don't be logical, don't make it appropriate to society and the conventional ways of things. Make the most honest account of what are the 5 top things that you want in your life. And as you go through the list, you will have a more better understanding of yourself. First, you have answered the question, who am I? And then you have answered the question, what do I really want from life? Now, the only way from there is up. And then the third question to ask yourself is, how can I get there? How can I get there? How can I achieve what I have? Don't ask yourself, what are the problems? Why can't I do it? How is it impossible or is it too hard? Those are the wrong questions to ask. The right question to ask is, how can I get there? Because you are assuming that you can get there. You just need to figure out the ways to get there. And that is a more positive question. It gives you more confidence and it gives you more esteem and it gives you a higher thought frequency, and so you can deal with it with better ideas, more optimism, energy and passion. That's what I want you to do to answer that third question. Now, I must remind you, in the previous video we talked about you become what you think about. You become what you think about. In other words, William James in the 20th century said, the greatest discovery ever made in the 20th century is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitude of mind. If you change your attitude of mind, you change your perspective, be more flexible, and see things from a different way, you will actually change your life. By changing the way you think, you can change your life. And that's the greatest discovery of the 20th century. Change your attitude. And what I mean by that, if a lion can look into the mirror and see a cat, and in a similar way, a cat can look into the mirror and see a lion. It only depends on your perspective and how you evaluate yourself. It's about self-image, self-perception. What do you think of yourself? So in order to, once you have answered these 3 questions, then the problem is your own attitude. And if you work on your attitude, you will certainly, most definitely find ways of achieving your goals. So make this a regular task. Don't do it once. Don't do it like one time in a week or a month. Do it every single day in that diary, because repetition gives you learning. Repetition gives you much more memory, and repetition gives you also the constructive ways of doing things differently. It gives you better ideas. So my suggestion is you buy that diary, buy that pen, and start writing, start doing some self-analysis. And you begin by asking, who am I, in terms of what my values and strengths are. And then you ask yourself the question, what do I really want from life? Don't be realistic or logical, just be emotional and come from this irrational, real, conscious way of how you really feel, what you really want from life. Sometimes we are so structured and civilized by culture, religion, and other negative people that we tend to think in rational terms, and our rationality is usually an inferior version of rationality. It's a pessimistic view that others have imposed upon us and forced us to think in negative terms. So don't think rationally, don't think logically, and put whatever you want from life. Make it the top 5. So you know where you came from and you know where you are going. The source or the home of you and the destination of you, and that gives you a great clarity of where am I, who am I, and where am I going. The next step, most logical, natural step, is to direct your way through that goal. And remember, there's a maze in between. There is never a straight line. Of course, you have a lot of obstacles and struggles to go in between. And coaching is often the way to for a coach to hold the client's hand and direct them through that maze and help them reach their goal. But sometimes you can do self-coaching, and it is when the self-coaching doesn't work that you need another coach to help you. So yeah, do that and have a better positive attitude toward it. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for listening, and always, knowledge is of no use if you don't put it into practice, and that is one of the weaknesses in our educational system. They give us knowledge but don't show it how to use it, don't show us how to use it. And the best way to have knowledge is to use it and have experience. Practical and applied knowledge is the real knowledge. So put these ideas into practice and it will do miracles in your life. This is your coach Feroz, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care, be positive, and live happily no matter what.